Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Outside the Playbook. I'm Josh, he's Ryan, and before we get into anything, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into some content right now. Today we're going to be talking about the NBA season preview. We're going to be looking at the Pacific Division. Not really going to go team by team like we have been. This is probably the most talent-loaded, unique division in the entire NBA. If you want to talk about the Sacramento Kings, I guess we can just look at De'Aaron Fox, talk about how he's potentially a future MVP, perennial All-Star, one of the more talented young guards in the NBA. His efficiency seems to increase every single year, but him and Buddy Hield, that's not it for me. I like what they did in the draft. They picked up Mitchell. He's a smaller guard. I believe he's barely 6 feet, and they paired him next to De'Aaron Fox. He can hold his own. I like his game. Plays both sides of the ball. Great defender. He has a similar build to Patrick Beverley, but he's pretty strong when he gets to the hole. He can get his shot off at any time he wants to. I believe he was MVP of the Summer League, if I'm not mistaken. So very talented, but I don't think they're going anywhere fast. So I'm not really going to spend too much time on them. The Clippers. Looking at the Clippers, they lost quite a bit. They lost Rondo. They lost Trez a few years ago, and you've seen how that hurt them. You don't have Cousins. He didn't really contribute a lot, but when he did, he gave you some good minutes in the playoffs. Patrick Patterson, he was off the space the floor type big. He didn't give you a lot of minutes either, but maybe 8 to 10 minutes, 5 minutes here and there. Especially when Ibaka went down with his injury. So they didn't lose a whole lot, but what they gained is obviously not going to be enough. The most notable player looking at this list, you got Eric Bledsoe. Justice Winslow has been battling injuries the past couple of years. I don't see anybody that's going to help them gain a championship. You're going to need Kawhi, Paul George, Ibaka. You're going to need those three and the other Morris twin. You're going to need them to play at an elite level, all-star MVP level, every single night for that team to have a chance to even sniff the conference finals, let alone the NBA finals. And I don't think that's going to happen, especially with Kawhi still nursing an ACL injury. Moving on to Phoenix, I'm just going to apply the champs to you're not the champs anymore type scenario with them. Conference champs, so they deserve a little bit of respect from us. They did go out, they went and got Landry Shamet, they got JaVale McGee, they re-signed Chris Paul. Very important moves. I like what they did last season. I do like the 1-2 punch, or the trio of Paul, Booker, and Ayton. Then you add McGee off the bench. I like the team that they're building around their star player. They're starting to do that. Sacramento should take some notes on how to keep your young star player happy. And we have Golden State. Okay, Golden State, they have Clay back in the lineup. I'm sure you're happy about that. You get Iggy back. Miami lets him go back so he can finish up his career in Golden State. You have Draymond, Steph, James Wiseman's coming back into the fold. We don't know what's going on with Wiggins back and forth with the league on that. They draft Moses Moody, and they pick up another young player, Jonathan Cummings. They have a lot of guys on their roster, and how can I forget? They just picked up Avery Bradley recently, and they have Otto Porter. Forgotten dude on that roster, but he can give you some minutes off the bench, especially with him and Wiggins at that forward position. They can do a lot of the same things, so I look forward to seeing him in that lineup. And the Lakers, 13 players on their entire roster are gone now from last year. Entirely new roster. We know the names, we know the faces, Hall of Famers, Dwight, Jordan, Westbrook, Melo. The list goes on and on. Knowing what we know about this division, okay? In my opinion, these 4 teams are the teams that are going to be jockeying for position, not in the conference, not in the division, but they're going to be jockeying for a position to get to the NBA Finals, in my opinion. In my estimation, there's a lot of good teams in the conference, but this right here, this is the four teams that we're going to be looking at to say conference finals. This is what we're going to be looking at to get to the next level. How do you feel about? I mean, your team is Golden State. How do you feel about their chances getting out of the Western Conference, let alone winning this division?
I think a lot of it's going to come down to what version of Clay we're going to get coming right back. I'm not expecting to get the Clay of old right from the jump. I think that we can look at KD from last year. We all know KD is an anomaly, so I don't, he came back and didn't look like he was injured or had been injured
Yeah.
or had taken time off at all.
MVP form
Clay
right away.
Thompson has always been durable, but I'm not putting that same expectation on him that we saw with KD. I think that's definitely abnormal. So I'm looking at a Clay that will still be getting his feet underneath
Mm-hmm.
him. So I'm honestly not expecting Golden State to definitely not come out the West. If they get to the Western Conference Final, I think that's an accomplishment for them. Whether they win or lose, if they get there, I think that's noteworthy compared, given all of the injury challenges that they faced the previous two seasons. So, yeah, I think really Clay is the X factor. We know more or less what Draymond Green is going to bring to the table. Steph is coming off, obviously scoring championship year the previous season, and so he's shown that he hasn't skipped a beat, and he's still very much, one
Motivated.
of the elite guards.
Motivated.
Um, yeah.
He took it
So
personally.
he did. So I mean, if we get the same stuff that we got last year, which I have no reason to believe we wouldn't, listen, it's going to be. I think Golden State is going to do very well. Like I said, I don't see them coming out of the West only because of Clay still recovering. Obviously, with James Wiseman, I know he dealt with some injuries the previous season. So if he comes back and continues to just develop and get better, I think that the sky's the limit for him. But I think Golden State needs a solid season. We've never seen really this squad playing together at full strength.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing that this season, and I think if they can just keep everybody healthy and get some of that chemistry back,
Mm-hmm.
I think they can look back and say that this was a successful season for them. In terms of the other teams, I really don't see. I really don't see the Clippers in the picture much at all. I mean, given what they did lose,
Yeah.
obviously with Kawhi nursing his injury, like you said, that's a significant factor. So when he comes back, how long it takes for him to come back, I've been seeing just some conflicting reports out there. Obviously, we know Kawhi, he's not going to come back until he feels right, and he's not going to let anybody force him back.
Yeah.
So if that means sitting, the first 2-3 months of the season until he feels
Maybe
right,
longer.
I know Kawhi is going
Maybe
to do
longer.
that. Maybe even longer. So, and that's going to substantially impact how well the Clippers perform. I like what the Suns did. I think JaVale McGee is a solid backup to Aiton. Um, so Landry Salmon obviously adds additional shooting. So I think overall, I think the Suns did get a little bit better in my opinion. Whether or not that would still be enough to come out of the Western Conference with, obviously a almost completely revamped LA Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
We're not sure what they're going to look like, but obviously individual talent is off the charts. So it is going to be interesting to see. But liking the moves that I saw these teams make on the offseason. I like what Golden State did with their draft picks, like what the Suns did. Like I said, I thought Clippers got a little bit weaker.
Yeah.
As far as Sacramento, like you said, not much to say aside from, hey, De'Aaron Fox. That's about it. So I'm expecting him to continue to get better as he has been the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about De'Aaron Fox is you're not going to see too many situations where the Kings are going to be in a position to add a all-star or superstar or a talented vet. I mean, they got close to being able to add some new pieces. Buddy Hield was mentioned in the deal with the Lakers, then that fell through. So you don't get Trez, you don't get Caldwell Pope. I mean, you don't get all those different pieces that could have been helpful to your team. To be
Mm-hmm.
respectable, maybe not a playoff team, but a respectable team, somebody that you got to think twice about before you look over them on an NBA schedule. But I mean, that wasn't the case. So we just look forward to watching De'Aaron Fox be a one-man wrecking crew. Thing about the Lakers is Russell Westbrook's importance is a lot greater than Anthony Davis' level of importance, and the fact that we've seen Russell go into this trance, if you will, over a course of several games when he needs to get his team to the playoffs. So we know he has the ability to single-handedly transform a team and get them into a playoff picture. So we can only imagine what he's going to do when he's back on an elite team in the league. The reason why I say it's that much greater than Anthony Davis is because first of all, he has to be conscious of Anthony Davis getting his touches, make sure AD is engaged, making sure LeBron is getting his, and he has to make sure Melo's fed, and has to make sure he's not, you know, everybody has a place on the court. They do a lot of different things, but we've seen with Westbrook on these other teams that he's doing everything. He's everywhere. So sometimes that may rub certain players the wrong way. Melo's played with Westbrook, so he knows how he is, how to function around him. But LeBron's a do-it-all player. On the defensive end, Dwight's usually the one patrolling the paint, grabbing rebounds off the board. That's Anthony Davis. That's his area of expertise. Now you have the triple-double king coming in with another triple-double king in LeBron James, and then you have Rondo, one of the better rebounding guards, one of the better floor generals in the history of the game, or I say unless in the last 20 years, one of the best floor generals. So there's a lot of things that Westbrook does that may step on the toes of a lot of players on that team. If Westbrook can make everybody comfortable and make everybody's job easier, that's going to help benefit the rest of the players on the team. But also, the reason why I say it's more important right now than Anthony Davis, because I don't actually think Anthony Davis has been completely healthy over the course of the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, he's played some good basketball, especially when they won a championship, played great, but I don't think he's really been healthy since then. So you need Westbrook to play at that MVP level to maybe give AD a couple games off, sit him out, maybe 2 or 3 games in a row if they're playing a series of bad teams. Like if you look at the schedule and you play Cleveland, Sacramento, and OKC or something like that, I'm giving AD a couple games off, letting him rest, make sure he stays up on treatment, because I mean, he may not say it, but the people around him and the people watching at home know he's not completely healthy. LeBron, I imagine he's gotten back to 100% because we know how he takes his body seriously, treatment and all those things. And you look at the rest of the roster, they aged, but they've aged well. If you look at everybody on that roster, they're not an old, broken down team. I mean, I guess DeAndre Jordan doesn't jump as high as he used to, but he can still contribute as the third big off the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I agree that I think the dynamic between Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, I think, is honestly going to determine how well the Lakers do, how well those two in particular adjust to each other. Um, I mean, I hope AD's healthy. Obviously we saw him try to come back and try to contribute, and he just last season just was not himself. When it came to the playoffs, and we all clearly saw it. But regardless, I think Russell Westbrook was the most important, change for the Lakers this past offseason, and how him and LeBron work together. We're going to see what it looks like, but honestly, I think that's going to cause the Lakers to either sink or swim.
Yeah, yeah, and I gotta give respect where respect is due. Frank Vogel has lasted a year and 3 quarters longer than I thought he would. I thought they was really just gonna give him maybe 20 games and he was gonna be up out of there. Jason Kidd was gonna slide to the left, and LeBron was gonna slide to the left with him. But hey, he kept his job. They love him in LA. He has a respect of the team. He has a respect of the locker room. So uh, I'm impressed. And if you think about it too, look at this. So I would say the 4 coaches in this division are among the elite. And I guess you can say maybe all of them are somewhere in the top 10. Maybe. Frank Vogel has vastly improved. He was great in Indiana. Not so great in Orlando in the time in between, but he bounced back in LA. Tyronn Lue, Monty Williams, you know, Steve Kerr. I mean, they've all been to the finals. First of all, within the last 5 years, they've all been to the finals within the last 5 years. A couple of them got championships. So I mean, this is a well-rounded division as far as talent. I mean, outside of the Kings, as far as talent, you have Hall of Famers galore. I mean, you look at Phoenix. If Devin Booker stays on his track, he could be mentioned in that category. But you look at Phoenix, CP3, first ballot, LeBron, Melo, Westbrook, Dwight. People debate that, but they're ignorant. Dwight is a Hall of Famer, first ballot. Rondo is the only other questionable one on that team. Look at the Clippers. I mean, Paul George, he's talented enough to get in. He needs a couple more years, in my opinion, to solidify that stance. Kawhi is definitely going in. Steph, Clay, Draymond, they're going in. This is a stacked division. It's probably the most exciting division not probably. This is the most exciting division in the league, bar none, and it's the most intriguing. And they all have championship aspirations. Whether you think Phoenix is going to get back or not, whether you think the Clippers have a chance or even have a shot if Kawhi is not fully healthy throughout the entire year. Make no mistake, these teams in their mind, they're coming into the season to try and win a championship. And I can't wait to see the Pacific Division. And we're starting off with a bang. The preseason, we got we got the Lakers versus the Nets tomorrow in the preseason. Granted, it's preseason. You're probably not going to see everybody that you're going to see in a regular season, but the NBA is back. NBA is back, and I look forward to that.
Back in business.
Yeah, we back. And man, in the next couple days or so, I gotta put out this video. Me and Nico, we did have another rematch, and it didn't go how I would want it to go. I got smacked. I'm not gonna hold you up. I did get smacked, but I'm not gonna hold back. I'll post the footage.
Can you repeat that for the people in the back? That might be listening from far away.
Look, I got smacked. I'm gonna post the footage in the next couple days, and
Nico laid the smack down.
That obsession is starting to come back. So I'm gonna get back on my grind. 6 out of 7 days of the week, man. Back in the gym, back working out and stuff like that, because I was watching Medea's family reunion not too long ago, and you remember the part when they in the car and she told old girl stop smacking the gum.
Stop popping that gum.
And then she reached in the back seat and slapped the taste out of her mouth. That's what it was like.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was like. I'm not gonna hold you up. So yeah, I got to get back to it and see what the outcome is. But that footage will be up in the coming days. So if y'all want to see that footage, hit the like, hit subscribe, come back for more. We out.